the biggest determinant of whether someone's going to reply to your outbound is timing. If you send somebody an email with something that they're having a hard time with at the right time, with a human sounding copy, well, they're going to respond. I think combining these ideas into a structured format that actually can measure how much better of a first call an AE is able to have. I think where you can be really relevant is understanding their tech stack deeply and understanding how not to overpitch it. So I'll give you an example. We sell email solution and we do sophisticated trigger-based automated email that, simpler email solutions like MailChimp do not do, and certainly do not do with as much sophisticated real-time segmentation as we do. You can absolutely go in and replace some of MailChimp's core flows, such as the welcome flow and so on. But you don't want to go in with that. If you know that they love MailChimp and they're happy with it, you want to go in with yourself as an add-on, even though you could replace MailChimp, right? So I think really understanding their technology landscape and where you want to get your first win as a new vendor coming into the account is very important. I think definitely open rate, reply rate. I think definitely number of calls made, number of emails sent. I think a lot of the activity metrics are becoming automated by AI and rightfully not the right metrics for an SDR to look at. It has to be something around the quality of the lead that is sent to the AE. Let's say there is a handoff. Let's say they are sending it to the account executive to close. I think it's something around the quality of the lead. Now, again, if an SDR has done the account research, they've understood the signals, they've layered those signals on with human discovery that they've done in the account, and provided a proper summary from their meeting into the AE, I think this has a much higher chance of an AE being able to close it or have a positive first discovery call. And I think SDRs need to start getting measured on this. Now, how do you do this in a sales practice where all pipeline does tend to look the same or does get just weighted based on the ACV potential of that pipeline? I think it's something to do with pipeline velocity. So something to do with how fast a lead is closed in addition to the amount of ACV that lead produced. And I think this is something that I think we will see more of in an AI SDR first world, is because the human ability to understand, do discovery by the SDR into an account and then layering that on with the research signals that, things like Play and other research agents are able to scrape from the web. I think combining these ideas into a structured format that actually can measure how much better of a first call an AE is able to have. I think the kind of SDRs that frankly I'm looking to hire Intempt technologies, and I can't imagine most head of sales wouldn't feel the same. Yeah, I think there's a lot of different kinds of outbound. There's, of course, the cold outbound, right off some research done in Clay, for example, but there's also warm outbound, which is the kind of outbound that's done after they've shown some activity on your LinkedIn profile, as I was speaking to earlier, or perhaps on your website or your app. So there's a variety of different kinds of outreach that happen today. While the outreach doesn't have to explicitly mention the context, so you shouldn't say things like "saw you on the website" or "saw you in the app" or "I noticed you were hiring and you raised a Series A." I mean, it's sort of lame, frankly. Like, I think to actually mention in the copy. But I think what you should do is you should time really good outbound. So in an era that we are in right now, where deliverability is much harder than it used to be, so the chance that you're landing in spam is higher and you're not landing in the primary. That's definitely a fact, and that's not changing anytime soon. I mean, you can fight it with better copy, it doesn't have spam words, but that's not changing anytime soon, right? So if you're doing outbound in such a world, whether it's cold or warm or hot, doesn't really matter. The biggest determinant of whether someone's going to reply to your outbound is timing, right? And how are you going to achieve timing? It's by actually understanding when to look at the signals in any case into single CRM that is extremely signal friendly or identity friendly. So it understands whether you signed up on a newsletter, it understands whether you signed up on your app, it understands whether you didn't sign up at all and it just sent you a cold email and you clicked and happened to go back to the website with the click that encoded your email address. So use CRMs and CDPs that actually understand context, are able to then signal stack and are able to pop it back into the sequence that is, time that sequence using a Journeys product, delay and time that sequence at the in such a way that it lands in the primary. Don't over email. It lands in the primary with at the right time, and you will get a reply. And by the way, what I'm speaking of at like in an automation scale has been true for decades. If you send somebody an email with something that they're having a hard time with at the right time, with a human sounding copy, well, they're going to respond. That email looks to me like someone that timed outreach really well, and they're a human being that gives SHIT about what I am dealing with right now. Of course, I'm going to reply. I mean, that's just the fundamentals of email that have existed for decades and aren't really going to change anytime soon.